this. Let's head back into the courtroom right now. The defense's next witness is taking the stand. This is the defendant's mother, Keith Agee's grandmother. Let's watch.
Thelma Rivers, R-I-V-E-R-S.
Good morning, Miss Rivers.
Good morning.
How old are you, ma'am? What's your date of birth?
October 14th, 1946. I'll be 79 this October.
Okay. And where do you live?
Fairfield, Alabama.
Okay. How long you lived there, ma'am?
My whole life.
Okay. And the dwelling you live in now is where you've lived for how long?
I've been there about 38 years.
Okay. I guess generally, what is your relationship to Sheila's children? And let's start with first child?
Wallace.
Yeah.
I'm his grandmother.
Okay. See him every day, casually?
Oh, just casually, Wallace. He lives in Mobile.
Okay. And he's 35 years old?
Be 35 in August.
Okay. And then your next child?
Jack Daniel.
Yes. And relationship to him?
He's my grandson.
Okay. Where does he live?
He lives behind me in a trailer.
Okay. Same property?
Same property.
Okay. And basically, just a brief history. Did you raise him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did Sheila raise him?
She was in his life, his whole life, you know.
Okay. And when was he born? How old is he?
Jack was November the 22nd, 1992. So he'll be 33, right?
Okay.
33 is his birthday.
And
next
will be Keith, but let's get back to him in a minute. We've got another child.
Keith Agee and Kaya Cheyenne Agee, a girl.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 16.
Okay, that's Sheila's youngest.
That's her youngest.
And she lived with you?
She lived with me up until this happened, and her daddy come got her. Okay. He brought the law and come got her away from me. But she stayed with me 15 years.
Relationship with her and her mother?
It was good.
Okay. Relationship Jack and his mother?
Oh, great.
Relationship Keith and his mother?
Off and on. They loved each other, but they had their ups and downs now.
Okay. And as far as Keith, living arrangement, did he live with you?
Yes, sir, most of the time.
Okay. And where else would he be, especially in his later years?
In his earlier years?
Well, especially his earlier years, he lived with you.
Yeah, until he got about 12 or 14, he moved in with his dad and stayed there about 2 years. But Sheila and his dad were separated, and he stayed there about 2 years. And then when he come back to live with me, he was a little bit out of control. And I would have to call Jack. Jack was in the service. That's his other brother. I'd have to call him sometimes and let him chastise him, you know.
Well, would you chastise him yourself?
Oh, yeah, I would. Yeah.
What would happen? How would that
Well, he might would leave and stay gone 3 or 4 days. And then he'd come back and tell me he was sorry. And everything be all right till something happened again.
He tell you he's sorry a lot of times?
A lot of times.
What kind of general personality did he have?
Keith was a well-spoken, well-mannered kid, you know, but he was quick-tempered. And he would get angry real easy. And when he got angry, he was hard to handle. That was him and his mom's a lot of problem. It was his anger. And he was just hard to handle when he'd get angry.
Would he threaten people?
Well, he would in a matter of ways, you know. He wasn't violent, but he's the type, if he got angry, I guess he could be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I don't know, he just had a...
Did you ever hear him threaten to kill people?
Oh, yeah, he'd say that all the time, and you never know when he was serious or not. Him and his little old friends would talk about just put his lights out or something other, you know, I'm sorry. And I would hear him talking, but I hardly paid him any attention half the time. They was just young boys to me, you know.
He threatened to kick people's doors down, windows in, or whatever?
Well, he did all that. Not only threatened, he done that.
Ms. Rivers, just make sure you speak up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
What was Sheila's relationship to Brooklyn?
Oh, like mother and daughter. Sheila took care of Brooklyn after she got pregnant. And then Sheila took care of Brooklyn and the baby after the baby come home. Because little Keith never did live with Brooklyn now. It wasn't like he stayed with her, he didn't. I kept the baby every weekend. Sheila would go get the baby and bring her to me, and I kept her every weekend until this happened. I had her the weekend before this happened, that Friday. She had just went home at last Sunday. She ain't been back since. Mm-hmm. Well, her mother come, Brooklyn's mother come a time or two after money, and after I gave her $1,200, and after I didn't give her no more money, she didn't come back. She promised to let me see the baby, but she didn't.
Sustained.
Slow
And
down.
I'm sorry,
Ms.
ma'am.
Rivers,
Okay.
just take a deep breath. So wait until he finishes asking a question before you answer, so you're not talking over each other, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sheila would pick up the baby every weekend. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Be with the baby every weekend.
Yes, sir.
With you at the house.
At my house, yes, sir.
At her house sometimes also?
Yes, sir. Her house too.
Okay. So
Yes.
basically the schedule was just about every weekend, Sheila and you had Casey.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sheila's relationship with everybody else in that family was what?
I thought it was real good, you know.
That's good.
You know,
Yeah.
good.
Okay. You remember any of the things that Sheila did for Brooklyn?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us?
Yes, sir. She gave Brooklyn money each week, and when she didn't, if she didn't have it, I would give it to her to give to her, so I know she gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
She sent Brooklyn to school, and when Brooklyn got 18, she gave Brooklyn a job. She went and picked Brooklyn up every week and carried her to work, brought her home every
Let
weekend.
me stop you for a second. My understanding is that Brooklyn basically, her last job was working under Sheila.
Yes,
with
sir.
this company that does, okay. Before that, did Brooklyn have jobs?
She had a little job out there in Citronelle because Sheila would pick her up at night and have to carry her sometimes and pick her up from a job. She didn't have no car.
Okay. And that was your daughter Sheila who was doing all that?
Yes, sir.
Do you ever hear Sheila say one negative, nasty word about Brooklyn?
No, sir.
I'm not,
Okay. Let me just have counsel approach her.
All right, while they take that sidebar, we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, after this wraps up that direct examination of the defendant's mother, we watch the cross-examination. And then this woman, the defendant, Sheila Agee, will take the stand. Busy day here. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial. Live coverage begins August 19th, only on Court TV.
Back to Florida now for more on the revenge mom murder trial for Sheila Agee. Prosecutors say the 52-year-old mom encouraged her son to kill his ex-girlfriend, Brooklyn Sims, at a Home Depot where both Sims and this defendant had worked. Keith Agee, who was found guilty of murder in 2023, took the stand in both trials and testified that he shot Sims because he believed that she had given him an STD, which was later found to be untrue. Let's get you back into court now, where we're hearing from the defendant's mother on cross-examination.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Rivers.
Good morning.
I think we talked over Zoom the last time you and I talked. Do you remember that?
On the phone?
On the phone, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of questions. In that, you told me you hadn't seen Brooklyn in maybe 3 years, except for the weekend before she was killed. Is that right?
Well, it would have been 2 weekends before she was killed now.
Okay, but 3 years before that?
Probably.
And you knew Keith had a gun, did you not?
Objection, Your Honor, it's beyond the scope.
Sustained.
You raised Keith from the time he was a baby, correct?
On and off.
Yes, ma'am. And you raised all her children?
On and off.
In fact, Jack still lives on your property, correct?
Yeah, she do too, though.
Just answer his question, ma'am.
Let me ask you this. Have you been watching court TV yesterday?
I don't know how to get that.
You haven't been watching the trial? Did Brooklyn ever stay at your house besides 2 weeks before?
If she did, I don't remember.
And you said Keith had a temper. Is that what you said? Quick temper?
Quick temper, yes.
Yes, ma'am. And he would anger easy. Was that well known through the family?
She didn't get a chance to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Quick to anger?
Yeah, he was quick to anger. Mm-hmm.
And you said he threatened people, but he wasn't violent.
He wasn't. He really wouldn't walk up to nobody and just threaten them. You know what I'm saying? He would just talk all the time. If you've got teenagers, you probably know what I'm talking about. How they just go on and on all the time. But you're a lot younger than me, so it don't probably approach you like it do me. Me, 79 years old, 16s, 17s, and 18s. I ain't got that much in common with it, you know.
Defense counsel asked about breaking windows and kicking doors in, and you said he did all that?
Well, Miss Sims, Brooklyn's mother, he broke her window, her TV or something. He couldn't even go to Brooklyn's house. He had a restraining order to keep him from going there. He had a restraining order to keep him from going to his dad's and his stepmama's because he said he was going to kill them, so they said. And they put a restraining order in Mobile. You can check the records now for this if you want to. Citronelle Records, Mobile Courthouse. It's on record there. And he threatened them, and his stepmama, which she's now, she put a restraining order on him. But I never thought he would really kill nobody. Now, I didn't think that.
Now, what about the shooting when he was 14?
I'm sorry.
The shooting when he was 14?
When he was a juvenile?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a juvenile. That's, he had records, ain't it?
Ma'am?
Wait, say that again, I'm sorry.
I said, ain't that a record and him a juvenile that's supposed to be brought out here?
Well, I'm just asking.
I don't see the relevance.
I don't see the relevance.
Ma'am, let me rule, okay? I'm going to overrule the objection.
Yes, ma'am. About he had a firearm and there was a shooting, right?
Yes.
When he was a juvenile?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Any redirect, Mr. Ackerman?
He started to say that he was threatening, he bellicose, whatever the words are, threatened people, but that he wouldn't follow through.
Right.
And that you never dreamed in a million years.
No. I never thought he would hurt a fly in my mind. No.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, ma'am, you can step down.
Thank you.